right, this is Madcap Music Review. I'm John. I'm here with guitar virtuoso Jeff Loomis. How you doing, brother?
Great. How are you doing today?
Good. Good to see you.
Yeah, great to be here.
So how's the tour going? I've noticed you guys started around March 12th and you're going through May 7th, and you honestly haven't had a day off. I think you have 2 days off the whole tour.
Yeah, it's like a really, really long, lengthy tour. We're about halfway through right now, and we just got back doing like a lot of the Canadian dates, and just working our way down the West Coast right now. Washington State, Oregon, California. Then we're going to push over to Arizona, and then work our way through Texas, and kind of just doing this really big circle.
Don't you hesitate to go.
Right. So
22 Acacia Avenue.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, we're just we're about halfway through, and yeah, it's been a bunch of fun so far. You know, I've known the Soilwork guys for quite some time now, so it's kind of a tightly knit family, and we all enjoy each other's company, and it's very chillaxed, and it's a nice tour to be on. It's really cool, and the response has been really, really awesome this far too.
So you've got your new Schecter signature guitar out, 7-string, and most interesting is you got a one-tone knob on there as opposed to
one volume knob.
Yeah, one volume.
Yeah. The reason for that being really is just simplicity. You know. I never really liked reaching down and feeling like, 3 knobs down there. It's just like kind of a mess, and you can realistically get your tone from your amp. So I never really bothered with putting tone knobs on my guitars. It's just a basic volume knob, and that's it,
Everything else you're getting through the amp?
Yeah, exactly. So I just try to keep it as simple as possible. I mean, the whole guitar really is quite simple. 707 EMG pickups. The guitar comes in 2 different colors, Vampire Red or Satin Black. You can get the guitar with the Floyd Rose or with just a standard bridge. 25.5-inch scaled neck, maple fretboard, extra large Dunlop frets, which make it easy to bend the notes and really just dig into the string.
It's an adder body, right?
I'll say
the body of the guitar?
I believe it's ash. Yeah. So that's basically the guitar, man, and I love it. It's very affordable for the 7-string guitar player too. You're not going to be paying like $2,000 for a guitar like this. It's very affordable for any guitar player at $999. So there you go.
So growing up, I mean, you've got this neoclassical influence mixed with thrash that just comes together brilliantly. What were some of your influences growing up?
My influences, my influences growing up started with a lot of 70s music, because my dad had a really huge like vinyl collection filled with bands like Fleetwood Mac, ELO, Queen. So I was really into guitar players like Brian May,
right,
Jeff Lynne, but then that kind of like switched over to guitar players like Eddie Van Halen and Randy Rhoads, and then I started getting into the whole like shrapnel era of guitar players like Tony McAlpine, Vinnie Moore, Yngwie Malmsteen, more of the shredder kind of guitar players.
Rising Force, that album was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was awesome. I mean, that's one, killer record that will never leave my collection. I think I played that record so many times. It's just like warped and has scratches in it. So it's amazing. So all those guitars were highly influential on my playing. But I would say most off is probably like Marty Friedman, Jason Becker, who used to be in a band called Cacophony. And
I just noticed on your website you do a cover.
I did do a cover of Jason Becker's song "Perpetual Burn."
Burn, yeah.
And it's been getting quite a lot of hits, which I'm really happy about. So I like to, let people know that he's a highly influential guitarist for me personally. And I just wanted to do a song to see if I could do it. I mean, he wrote this piece of music when he was 17 years old.
That was back in '88 when that album came out.
Yeah, and I had to take 2 months to learn it.
Did you really?
Really intense. So I just thought I would put it up there for people to see, and really just did it out of the joy of listening to it and playing it. Just for fun, and that's why I did it.
It's an interesting video to watch because I mean, what you hear and what you see are like 2 different things. You're almost kind of like the Clapton of metal. It's like like a slow hand. Like you're expecting to see this hand just going, and it's just this smooth transition, and it's quite good.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I mean he definitely, when he wrote it, had much more of a swing to it. Which is really a cool feel. And when I learned it, I think it's so intense that my feel is almost like a robotic sense, of just trying to match the riffs that he was doing. So it's quite a bit different, you know, but I still, you know, learned it the best I could and did my own version of it. And I think from the amount of comments that were said on the whole thing, people really seem to enjoy it. So that makes me happy. And Jason even commented on it and said he loved it, and so did his mother. So that's pretty damn cool.
And it's amazing that considering all that's happened, that he's able to still, like with his eyes, compose music and just do what he does.
It's a horrible disease, man.
Yeah,
it really
the
is. I actually grew up with somebody who was diagnosed with ALS. So you know, I know firsthand what happens with that whole thing, and I just hope that there is some treatment, you know, soon, or some cure for this disease, because it's just horrible. And it's just amazing to see that Jason has, you know, gone through this for so many years and still does what he does. You know, he writes music and communicates, and he's got a lot of love and support from his family, which I think, you know, carries him on, you know, to be with us, you know.
I think when you're that greatly talented, and just like you, I'm sure music it's going to come out some way. It's ingrained in your soul.
It's up here, you know, in here, and he encompasses both of those things: mind, spirit, body, heart, and he's just an amazing person. So we should all be blessed that he's still with us, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Was Niccolo Paganini any part of an influence on you? Because I hear that neoclassical tone going back to his violin playing back in the day, which I could hear on Eddie Van Halen's Eruption.
Oh, sure.
Back in the 70s.
I definitely listened to it. I didn't really sit down and learn any of that stuff, but I definitely enjoyed listening to it and just hearing the overwhelming techniques that he had, you know. But it was more of a listening experience, not really me sitting down learning any of it. Yeah.
And what brought you to 7 strings?
Just lower, beefier, you know, chunky tone. I wanted to have something that was definitely more low registered and just, you know, heavy sounding. I really was influenced by Meshuggah from Destroy, Erase, Improve, that record, to just experiment with 7 strings. And I think I started using them back in like 2000. And then I started using a 7-string guitar to write the Nevermore record, Dead Heart in a Dead World.
Yeah.
And that was kind of like where Nevermore started to really get more of a fan base and become a bigger band.
And you were taking over main guitar duties, you know.
Yeah, and that kind of like turned into more of our signature tone. Even listening to bands like Korn, which were using 7-string guitars.
Yeah, just way down tuned, right?
I was like, that sounds cool, and I want to experiment with that. So I kind of just put my 6-string down and...
Or John Petrucci from Dream Theater?
Yeah, definitely. I think he used it pretty cool too, but there's other bands that, you know, like Meshuggah, you know, using it to the extreme, you know. You know, just like a lot more cool things you can do with it, you know, getting like, you know, 3 different octave scale things going and stuff like that, and an easier pattern. More chords that you can experiment with, you know. So it's just cool. I like the sound of it mostly, you know. It's got a very low end, evil vibe to it.
Right.
Very dark and very cool sounding. So that's why I use it.
Your opening Mercurial, that's just, it's got the neoclassical and the thrash mixed in. It's like,
yeah.
It's almost like the definition of the word, you know, sudden and abrupt change.
Exactly. Right? I mean, I try to go for diversity really, and really just try to come up with different sounds that are, you know, reflecting on the music that inspired me growing up. Classical music, thrash music, death metal vocals, real vocals. I like to combine all those elements to make it just like an interesting landscape for people to listen. And it doesn't sound all the way the same the whole way through, you know. It just sounds different. And I think that's what keeps it interesting. And people like to come back and just hear it, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's songs on it that almost have a Joe Satriani Flying in a Blue Dream vibe, where it's just very picturesque. You almost picture flying through the mountains or seeing the skyscapes or something. And then there's that heavy thrash, you know, neoclassical element that just all meld together quite well.
Instrumental music is challenging because you're almost playing your guitar like you would a vocalist singing, you know. You have to treat your guitar like it's a vocal instrument to try to make it interesting for people to hear. And that's what I try to focus on. Singing with my lead guitar kind of a thing.
And you were in Europe this fall touring.
Yes.
And how is that? Does it kind of expose you to different bands maybe that you haven't heard before? Or?
Yeah, I did a tour called the Euroblast tour, and it was really focusing on like more gent bands, which I'm really not, you know, I don't really focus on that too terribly much with my playing, but I did headline that tour, and it was a fun tour. It was really cool to be out and play my music for people over there and stuff, but I just don't know if it was the proper tour for me to be on.
Right.
But hey, if I can play my music for people that haven't heard it before, then that's kind of a goal. That's cool.
Spreading the word.
Yeah. So hey, I had fun doing it. Definitely.
What's the writing process like for you? Like putting those complex songs together? Do you
just hashing away at it every day? Just like coming up with 10 or 20 riffs a day. Just laying them down in a Pro Tools session and picking which ones I like, coming up with drum patterns, and it's like how a painter paints a painting. You know what I mean? You start with the foundation and you just start adding colors to it.
Right.
It's kind of the same way with writing music. Everybody has their own way of doing something, but that's kind of how I do it. Just kind of come up with riffs and throw them around to see what kind of works.
Is there one of those things where like putting too much thought in it almost? Because as a writer, if I think too much, sometimes
Sure.
writer's block, boom, right off the bat.
Yeah.
Is that way composing as well?
It does. It happens to me all the time, and I think the best things come when you're not thinking about them, It's like something will just come at a snap of a finger and you're like, man, that was awesome. And you always want to be sure you're rolling the recording button,
right?
So when that magical moment happens, you're capturing it.
Wake up at 3 a.m. and you're just like, I just thought of this killer riff. I gotta.
That's when I seem to do my best work. Is like really late when nobody bothers me. I just try to be by myself and do my work. But I do run into bouts of writer's block all the time, and there's really nothing you can do about it except for put your guitar down and come back a few days later and try to recapture what your thoughts were. Because if you're trying too hard, that's just going to reflect on your music and sound like you're trying too hard. You want to make it sound natural. You want to make it sound like it's flowing. So.
Right on.
Yeah.
So how is it playing? I mean, you started, like I said, March 12th, and you're going through May 7th with two days off. How do you keep your fingers from just exploding? Are you super gluing them, or you?
I don't know, man. Because I in the middle of the gig last night, my hand just went numb or something,
Mm-hmm.
Like it fell asleep on me or something. And I don't know if that's from playing every day or if I have a pinched nerve or something in my wrist or something. But it's playing every day. It's cool and it's weird. You know what I mean? It's making the tour go by very fast.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, it's a lot of hard work, man. And you really got to take care of yourself. And that's what I'm trying to do. And drink this.
Coffee.
Coffee.
So for all those out there that want to hear more about you, find out what Jeff Loomis is up to, get your 2 solo albums, check you out. What's the best way to find you?
JeffLoomis.com, man. You can find out all the tour dates, all the guitar clinics, see photos from the tour. I also have a fan book, Jeff Loomis Facebook page. You can go to there to check out anything regarding the Jeff Loomis band or gear that I use, records that I have out.
Schecter Guitars.
Schecter Guitars. SchecterGuitars.com if you want to check out the guitars that I use. Yeah.
That was, and like I was telling you, the Schecter show you played, my God.
That was a fun time.
I've never seen an instrumentalist get a pit going like you did. That was ridiculous.
that was awesome. We played a shorter set, but I think we got the point across that.
I think you did, yeah. There was a pit. It was like being at a Slayer show, except it was just you up there on your guitar. It was pretty sweet.
No, thank you, man. That was a blast. Yeah.
Thank you for having us. Jeff Loomis, guitar virtuoso. This guy's in the league with Yngwie and Eddie and anyone you'd ever want to listen to, so check him out. He's a real deal.